Time now for the school report. Today we welcome Lori Frerk to the studio, the superintendent of the Arcadia School District, brought to you by Poppy Bus Service. The school report starts right now.
All right, everybody, it is time for your school report. I'm joined by Lori Frerk. We have just been jamming out in the studio, drinking coffee and talking about going to concerts. So you're a little sleep deprived this morning.
A little sleep deprived. Going to Milwaukee and back last night for the Def Leppard and Tesla concert. Yep, here we go.
Hey, that's worth losing sleep over.
Truly is. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice because, Summerfest opened, because happy first day of summer for us as we go through. And, of course, the heat's coming on, so that's what we got.
Yep. It's going to be a warm weekend in store. Oh, goodness. And so what's new at the school? I know it's summertime, and we were just talking about how everyone's like, what do you do with your time off? But there really isn't much time off, is there?
No, there's no rest for the weary, right? As it's going through. Right now it's like our custodial crew it's their time to shine. If that makes sense. So our custodial crew are going through every room in the school district and pulling out every classroom piece of furniture and everything else, and we're stripping the wax and re-waxing because you want to make them look shiny and nice for the school year. All those things are happening. Summer school is happening. We've got a good group of summer school kids coming in. One of our we have that strength and conditioning within the Wannick Center, so we've got about 60 kids coming to that, which is nice. So they started the June 9th, and they'll carry through until July 30th. So they'll extend that. So that's helpful for those athletes and different things and so forth, making sure they're strong for the season overall. Yeah. But a lot of other things, the hiring season is upon us.
I suppose.
You're going to get all those switches. You're going to get people that retire. You're going to get people that might be moving back closer to home, or going to a different district. It's their time to look at those pieces. And then you're trying to find the best possible fill from those that are applying and so forth.
So
that's what we're doing.
How many positions do you have to fill there?
Right now we had about 4 of them open, and we're getting a few different ones because June 30th is kind of the mark. That's the end. So people don't realize that normally you're going January 1st to December 31st, right, as a process. A school district's fiscal year is July 1 to June 30th.
Okay.
So everybody's contract basically goes through that June 30th, right? So if a teacher wants to move, they need to move by that June 30th. Otherwise, if they go into the next fiscal year, then they actually have to pay back for you to break the contract.
Okay.
If that makes sense. For most school districts, there's a certain fee that they have to do.
Yep.
So right now we've had about 4 openings. We've already hired those 4. We had a PE opening. We had some other science opening. We had a FACE opening, so food and family consumer. We're getting a few others, so we have we have a science opening. We had a grade 2 and grade 3 opening. One of our reading teachers left, so we had another grade 2 opening. So we're doing those things. So really right now, when you're looking at it, it's only about between 5 and 10. That's actually a pretty decent number for the size district. Sometimes when I was working, at other districts and stuff, it was a little bit larger overall. And you can kind of get that depending on the district and those pieces.
Okay. Yeah. So still getting through it, making things happen. And
making things happen, yeah.
You still like living here? Because we were just talking. It's been a year since we've met.
Yes, 1 full year. Happy year anniversary here.
Yeah.
Yes, we're still living on Main Street. We're finally getting 2 of our bathrooms reset and so forth because we're really renovating that home that we actually purchased and so forth. Right now, it's just getting through the finances, and that's the biggest thing right now on everybody's mind. The Joint Finance Committee is looking at that 2-year budget at the state. And right now we're a little disappointed in the Joint Finance Committee, because what we're hearing is they want to do nothing.
Okay.
They don't want to raise the student levies. They don't want to raise the special education reimbursement. Some of those things, and it's pretty sad to see that they're kind of passing that buck along. I understand the whole purpose of not raising property taxes and different things, but after 30-some years, it's not working.
Yeah.
When 90% of your districts are right now going to operational referendums. It's sad. It's just not. It's just not a fair playing field overall if we look at it that way. And again, I understand. This Joint Finance Committee is going to go, well, look at what the governor did. He did a 400-year veto, and you get 325. All those things, but none of this has kept up with inflationary processes.
yeah.
So what happens for us is because we didn't talk about that, but we did fail our operational referendum. So we did not pass that, which means now I have to make cuts. So we made anywhere from $600,000 to $1 million in cuts.
Oh, wow.
And everybody's like, great, you can do that. Problem with that is now the state knows that we're not spending as much.
So then you can't get the money in the future to re-up that in the time, right?
Well, yes and no. What
Okay.
happens is the state funding aid for us will now decrease.
Oh, no.
So this coming year, that won't happen because it's kind of a year and lag. So the following year, our community members will have to fill in that extra $1 million that won't come from the state.
Okay.
And so now, even though I've talked about having the levy increase, it will automatically increase because now the community members are going to have to fill that
Yeah.
and fill that void.
Yeah, so it's just kind of kicked it down a year,
Correct.
Oh,
Correct. If we would have passed the operational referendum, our district, our community members would have paid 100% of the operational referendum this year. But then the following year, the state basically, with state aid and different things like that, the state would have paid 52 cents on that dollar,
Okay.
where then the community members would have filled the rest. So it's up to me to make those budgetary pieces and try to make that happen. I'm really kind of working those pieces through, trying to make sure that we actually have some funds left as a whole, and then keep moving forward. But again, now if I'm saving money and I'm building a fund, then the question is going to be, well, why do you need an operational? So it's going to be all of these pieces in trying to explain that to the community and where those pieces are. The district itself, when I'm looking at it, has been really stringent on how we've done things. And right now we're running on the empty.
Oh.
So instead of being a superintendent only, right now I'm a facilities director as well.
Okay.
So now I've got to help
Double
out with
duty.
right.
Yeah.
Again, we're running on that empty, so people are going to get tired. And again, when it comes to being tired, right, then they leave your district and they go somewhere else. So you got to try to replace.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge overall. You try to do those things, and you try to make sure that you don't overspend your community dollars because it is a gift from them to make us do those things.
Yeah. And the community has to recognize too that education is important for these children. In any group, you can make cuts. Any business, any group, however you want to phrase it. But sometimes those cuts come with the sacrificing of the people who they're supposed to benefit.
Correct. Or it comes to the sacrifice of the building itself.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at things. Let's be honest. Our bodies need replacement pieces too, right?
Yeah.
As we go through. But it's just like a building, just like your own home. You're going to say, wow, it looks like a beautiful home, but now that it's 30 years old, there's going to be replacement pieces coming. So not only on top of making sure you have an operating budget, you also have to look at if a chiller goes out for your air conditioning and so forth, you've got to have about $500,000 to $1 million to replace it.
Yeah.
I don't have that backing.
Yep.
So there are things that could come up that actually kind of put us in a bigger pinch. And so we worked with a company too, and our board has been given some pieces to look at our facilities plans for the next 1 to 25 years overall. You have to look ahead. You can't just look at tomorrow. You got to look way beyond that to see how do you work with your budget and how do you get those pieces there. But there's great people that I'm working with in the Arcadia district. They're working their tails off to make sure it happens for kids, and it's all about kids.
Yeah.
Everything that we direct and how we determine things has got to be first and foremost, how does it affect the kids and how does that help us move forward?
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of the kids, like you said, you're doing summer school right now, but I know it's only towards the end of June, but you're probably thinking about back to school already.
Correct. So we already began that process as a whole. So even with our team, the administrative team works, the the full year. Everybody goes, well, what do you do? Well, basically, we begin to make the plan. So we're already doing the budget for the next year. So I'll be presenting that a preliminary budget to our board in July, kind of giving them an idea where we are. The focused budget with the levy will be in October, our annual meeting. But then when we come into July, then we'll sit down and we'll start making goals for the year and what are we going to look in for and how we're going to progress. Not only goals for the school, but also goals for ourselves and how do we move that forward. Because we have to look at that. I've been in education now for 33 years. And every year you set a goal. And you have to set that. It's the very same thing when I played basketball for college. You had to set a goal, and you had to make that goal. I never thought some of those goals were going to be accomplished when I was in college basketball, but that you were able to do that, but you have to give your all to all those pieces. So now we're going to do those same things and hopefully progress those goals that our administrative staff and our board is going to do in a summer retreat. Look at those things. Whatever the board determines to try to make that process happen, as administrators, we should take those pieces and that focus and what that mission vision is, and then work from that. And then how our goals are set should also then go to our staff, not just the teaching staff, but our paraprofessionals, our secretarial staff, all those pieces, bus drivers. Everything should be focused on that same goal and lead to that end product of our kids graduating. I mean, we were super happy in that 100% of our seniors graduated this year.
Oh, great.
And so we just want to keep doing that. We're happy about our middle school as being recognized by the state because it's now 3 years in a row that they've had exceptional ratings and so forth. We just want to keep grinding that out and making those things happen.
Because that benefits the community.
Correct. Your property values go up when your schools are very successful. If they're not successful, the property values kind of hang there overall. And it is. It's the heartbeat of the community. And our kids are doing great things, and we want to continue to do that. And we want to give them the help in their career and their focus beyond high school. You'd want them to graduate. You want them to stay in this community. You'd love them to have skills. You'd love them to have the skills to be able to either go to a job right away or go to that post-secondary, whatever that means. Or let's be honest, go into the military and serve our country. Those are the positive things that we can do. But it's kind of like when you have your own kids, right? And they grow up and they go away from you and you're like, yep, I did the right thing because they're independent. They're exactly the way they are. It kind of hurts sometimes. But,
I know.
but that's what we want, is we want to cherish that part and bring that mission vision and have them be great community members for our society overall, no matter where they live.
And what you guys are doing is you're giving them a nice base jump-off point to prepare them for the real world out there. Correct.
Because, when we thought about it when we were young, that was a long time ago, it was a push to go to college. That's not all what we need right these days.
The world's changing.
The world's changing, right. And so what we're trying to do is, like in their senior year, do more of those youth apprenticeships, get them more of those skills, on-the-job training, all those different things. There's a lot of those skilled labors that are happening. You and I just talked about the picture of our son. He got injured on the job because he's a framer, and he's doing extremely well being a framer. You get great jobs. Anything they can do and they can be successful, that's what we want them to do, no matter what level they're looking at. Whether they want to be a doctor or they want to be a framer, those are great, successful jobs. If we can get our kids to do that, be on their own, be independent, start their own families, and go forward, that's what we want.
And I can speak from that experience. When I was in high school, I had a child young. I had a child at 16, and we worked out with the school where they did a program where you went to school half the day and you went and worked half the day. And what I did is I went and I did carpentry, electrical. So I learned all the skills of carpentry, electrical, plumbing. Got paid really, really well for being a 16-year-old kid, and it helped support my family, and I lived on my own, and that jumping off, I have brought all those skills. Being a homeowner, all those skills have come in so handy. So, a lot of people look at people in the trades and like, oh, they're plumbers. It's like, you don't know what these people make. They're probably doing better than you are.
Well, think about it. You have to hire a plumber, right? And you're looking at the bill going, what? They make, $60 an hour? Yep. Guess what? They've got a skill that someone else doesn't have.
Exactly.
And so, no, we're not calling the skilled labor is 75% of the workforce right now is going to need that type of skill. But what we need to do is prepare our kids to have those skills, be able to critically think, look at those things, be able to do that. but also give them the skills that if when they choose to go back to post-secondary, whatever they need, that they have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
It's not like you should be, right off the bat, this is where it is. I mean, I look at my own husband, right? His dad's like, you're going to go to college and you're going to be a lawyer. And he's like, I don't want to be a lawyer. What do I want? Right? He goes to college. College wasn't what he wanted. It was our son also. He went to college. It wasn't what he wanted. My husband went to the military and started that way. So he did 24 years in the Army Reserve, right? So he did those things. Yep, he's a nice guy, even though he was a drill sergeant, right? He's a nice guy. Our son didn't do that, but he went into the skilled labor trades because guess what? When he was young, he was with mom and dad, and you build houses.
Yep.
Right? And those kids are coming out, and they're making anywhere from $70,000 to $90,000 a year just to start.
Yeah.
And people are going to be like, what? Nope. Guess what? People working with their hands, they're going to be worth the money that we pay them.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I think we've had a pretty good conversation this
for a
morning.
year.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to cover before we get going this morning?
No, I hope everybody has a great summer, and I hope summer school goes well for all those other districts that have that going. And just enjoy it, relax, and then just remember, August is not that far away, is it?
I know. It's coming. It's going to be here in no time.
Right.
So, well, Lori, thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you here in the studio, and we'll let you get home, get a little rest.
A little bit.
All right, we're going to get back into the hits right after this short break.
It's one of the most popular races of the season, the Carl Fenske Memorial, tonight at Mississippi Thunder